Hey everyone, I'm Asmara and welcome back to the channel. So I'm really excited to share with you guys a project that I've been cooking up for a little while. This is a one-off podcast style project meant to highlight the voices of Black women in gaming while also bringing exposure to some of our unique experiences in the space. So this is a conversation featuring not only Simmy T, you might remember her from a video I did earlier this year where I taught a couple of my internet friends how to play Minecraft, but also simquoya and Cozy K. If you don't already know about them, let me give you a brief background. For starters, Simmy T's channel is all about sharing relaxing videos related to gaming, self-care, and all things cozy. While centering her faith in her content, her channel definitely provides a peaceful atmosphere for her viewers. Sequoia, known on the internet as simquoya, is an active member of the Sims community and she's been a simmer since the start. Simquoya shares engaging Sims 4 gameplay to her YouTube channel with an emphasis on diversity. Her dynamic storytelling compels her audience to change the way they play. And last but certainly not least, our fourth and final panelist is Cozy K. While finding her footing on TikTok, all of Kennedy's social platforms have truly blossomed over this past year. By sharing self-care tips and cozy game suggestions through listicles and let's plays, Kennedy's very aesthetic YouTube and Twitch channels are sure to give you all the super cozy vibes. So in this video, we talk about a wide range of topics from representation to company virtue signaling, the importance of Black women supporting each other online, and so much more. So I can't wait for you guys to meet all three other panelists, and let's go ahead and hop right into the conversation. I want you guys to introduce yourselves to our audience. Tell us a little bit about your channel history, just so we can kind of get some background on you. So, Koya, would you like to start?
Oh.
Not to
Okay,
put you on the
sure.
spot.
Okay, so I'm Sequoia, also known on these, social media streets as Simquoya. I started my YouTube channel for Sims content in December of 2020. Um, and yeah, I primarily focus on the Sims 4, Sims content, let's plays, gameplay, an occasional cast video here and there. But I really love storytelling and doing that through the Sims. So that is pretty much, what I do.
What inspired you to start your channel?
My family and friends telling me that I should, I think, so I can stop talking to them about my Sim stories. Because I really was letting them know, remember my Sim who got evicted? Yeah, let me tell you what happened now. And they're just like, okay, you should really start a YouTube channel.
So is that how you found out that there were people online making let's play videos on Sims 4?
um, so okay, so when I was in college, The Sims 3 was out. And
My baby.
honestly, I was not able to balance college and Sims. So I played a little bit when I started college, but I had to sacrifice and not play throughout the rest of my time in school.
Mhm.
And so after I graduated and started working, I still wasn't playing The Sims. And then one day it hit me and I said, I have all this free time. Why am I not playing The Sims anymore? So I
Yeah.
was going to go and reinstall The Sims 3. And I was like, wait, no, I can get The Sims 4 now because The Sims 4 was out. And so I was like, I found it and then I wanted to see which expansion pack I should buy. And I was like, people are probably reviewing packs on YouTube by now. So I just looked
Yeah.
up pack reviews and I was like, whoa. I was like, people are playing the game on YouTube. They're not just reviewing the game. And I just fell into a
Yeah.
rabbit hole and I've been sucked in ever since.
I love that. Kennedy, what about you? How did your channel sort of come to be English?
Yeah. So I started any content creation at all in my third year of law school. And it was kind of one of those things of I needed something else to put my energy into because law school, all of that was becoming, I felt like my entire identity. And so it's I need something else. I need a hobby, I need a passion, I need something to distract myself. And so I got back into gaming, which I had always been into gaming, but it was something that I
Yeah.
rekindled. It was a nice way to de-stress and stuff. And so I started posting on Instagram, and at the time there was this very, very small niche of people posting their switches with a cute little aesthetic background or setup, and kind of all playing the same games like Animal Crossing and stuff like that. And so I started there, and then that niche kind of started to grow, and then almost like a year to the day, I posted on TikTok, and then that kind of blew up. I think because a lot of people hadn't really seen that niche before, the like casual aesthetic gaming niche. And so that blew up on TikTok. And then from there, people kind of asked me to move on to other platforms. And I'd never planned to and never saw myself kind of doing this. But yeah, I did, and now I love it, and it's very fun.
You're the cozy gamer now. For those people watching who don't know, Kennedy has a very aesthetic Instagram, Twitch, everything. Like everything just looked very coordinated, very pretty.
Thank you.
So that definitely comes through. Taylor, what about you? Like what kind of sparked your inspiration to create Simmy Tea?
I started my channel post panini bread, and
We like ads here, you know.
and I didn't know about gaming content at all. During the panini, I decided to start back playing The Sims 2, but I never played The Sims 4. So I looked online like Koya to see, like, okay, I wonder what people are saying about the game now. And I was shocked when I found out that people were actually making not only gaming content, but let's plays with The Sims. Like, I never had any friends in real life really that played The Sims or that even really gamed, because I took a big gap years from gaming in college, because none of my friends at the time gamed, and we did a lot of other things, but gaming wasn't one of those things. So when I started my channel, I was really excited because I never knew it was really a possibility, but I knew that I had a lot of fun doing it. So that's how Simmy Tea came to be.
Ooh, that rhymed. Bars. I know for me, so I have a little bit of a different experience. So I knew about gaming on YouTube since like maybe I was about like 12 or 13. I know I'm the baby of the group here, but I used to really like watching Minecraft videos and people making like Minecraft like Let's Plays and stuff like that. And I somehow just from watching different creators, I found out about The Sims 3. And that whole community on YouTube. I used to watch like Life Simmer and like all the folks LPs, Sims 3 LPs back in the day. And then I had a channel when I was younger, like, and I posted, you know, gaming content. And then when I went to college, I was like, I'm probably over this gaming thing now, or I didn't really know where I was at with it. So I took a break from just YouTube and gaming altogether. My computer actually like died at the time. Like she literally turned off. She never turned back on.
Oh my goodness.
And so that like confirmed to me. I was like, yes, this is a sign. Well, we're not gaming anymore. So then I started college. I eventually got my own Mac because I was going to school for like film production. And so it was like, well, Macs is like what, you know, the real film people use. I should like invest in one of those. So that's what I did. The panini press happened. And we were all sent home. And I guess in that time I just sort of started realizing how much I missed gaming. So I decided to start making videos again. I kind of created it with this intention to sort of show a side of gaming that I felt like was not represented. I didn't realize that there could also be different niches or different types of gamers, if that makes sense. So like the types of gamers that I followed when I was younger were usually like all white dudes, or they just had like, they were just all similar. So I didn't really see as many people who I could see myself in or who played the types of games that I liked. So I kind of created my channel on this idea of like representation and visibility. And so I want to ask you guys, like, what has been your experience with like representation in gaming? And this can go beyond just race. Can you recall the first time you remember seeing yourself or a character that you could kind of see yourself represented in gaming?
When I realized that there were gamers online. I was really shocked to find, like you said, other Black women who were making games, but not like, I don't know, when you think of gamers, even me being a gamer, I never really thought about myself as a gamer. But when you, well, growing up, when I thought of like a gamer, I thought of like first person shooters or people like screaming through their headset. So when I realized that people were just kind of living their normal everyday lives, but also sharing gameplay, I was like, wow, I like doing this too. So that definitely made me feel represented, because like I said, I didn't have anyone surrounding me that enjoyed video games, especially not the type of games that I enjoyed playing. So that was probably the first time that I felt represented in that way.
As far as seeing myself represented in a character, ooh, okay. So for so long, I played games like Spyro, Frogger, Crash Bandicoot. So there weren't actually humans in and I do not want to say the first time I saw myself represented was like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas playing as Carlos.
No, but seriously though,
Right. So when you just mentioned like shooting and screaming, I was like, yeah, that's probably not good though.
It's probably my first time too.
Yeah. So I'm like, there's gotta be something else. But even in my fighting games, I don't recall there ever being a Black female fighting character. You know, there'll be an Asian one, a white woman, but not Black. You know, there might be a big Black guy, but as far as like seeing people creating content online, like when I found Ocean Sims, I was like, what in the world? Because before I saw her channel, I saw these like large YouTubers who were not people of color, and they played in a different style than I do. So when I saw hers, and you know, she had this really cool and relaxed, casual, like just chill gameplay. She wasn't screaming or had all these like, you know, really like out there like edits and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, she plays just like I play. And I felt really cool about that. Like, cause like since I found people online that were playing and I didn't see anybody who played like me, it was still fun to watch, but you know, the little piece of relatability was missing. So yeah, seeing Ocean definitely let me see myself in like gaming online.
I think that makes a really good point though about like sometimes like it's not even up to the game companies, which I mean game companies I feel like still should make, you know, efforts to have diverse characters, but it's cool to see how the internet has also contributed to us being able to see ourselves represented in that space in people who share their gameplay in the way they play. Yeah. What about you, Kennedy?
I would say I always felt really represented in The Sims, which is weird because like you're creating the characters, but I think the ability to create a character that like looks like you was so unique and like such a special thing. I think that was what made me feel like, okay, like I see myself in a game and like a game is reflecting my life, and that was just like a really cool feeling. And yeah, I don't think I saw representation of like a character for a very, very long time. But just that little like ability to customize, I think makes you be able to connect so much better to a game.
One thing I also thought about is like growing up, I never really thought about the fact that I didn't see myself, whether it was in games or in films. I never really thought about it. I enjoyed the movies that I liked and the games that I played. And if there was anyone that looked remotely Black, like I played a game called Tekken. I don't know if you guys have played. Oh, yay. Okay, so I played Tekken. You remember the girl who like did the break dancing and she had the brother?
I don't remember
exactly.
I don't.
Okay, well,
We'll put a picture up on the screen or something.
Okay. Well, my point is, it didn't matter like if the character was Black or not. If they had brown skin or like they were slightly darker, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is my character. This is me.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Same.
I never really thought about it until probably later, until adulthood or maybe high school, only because of certain situations. But it wasn't something that I was overly conscious about.
Yeah, maybe like I think we just didn't expect it. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't see it anywhere else, so we're like, why would we see it anywhere?
Yeah.
True. I think I only really noticed again, like you guys were saying, like later, that I didn't really see Black folk or really anyone that I felt like represented me in gaming, at least. And I think that definitely was one of the inspirations for creating my channel, was to show that like Black women can play games, but then also that we all don't come in the same package. You know, like we all have different personalities, we have different things that we like, we all talk different ways. Like there's not just this one way to be Black, you know. And when people are able to see themselves that they can, or see someone that they can see themselves reflected in, I know that that has like a powerful impact, because it doesn't happen often, like just quite honestly, especially as, you know, black women. And so I want to move on into talking about a time in history, which I like to call Black Lives Matter 2020, where people and companies decided that they wanted to pay attention to black stories, Black creators, Black professionals, and just kind of highlight our voices. I want to know, as creators and also just as consumers, a lot of companies I noticed talked a lot about Black Lives Matter and how they're going to make improvements in their games, or how they wanted to, you know, improve diversity and inclusion in their companies. And I just want to know what you guys think about it. It's been a year and a half almost ish after. Do you think that companies have been genuine in their efforts to sort of include Black people in their work?
Yeah, I'd say a big no on that. It kind of feels like now the way that it works is everybody's forgotten about it, and then once somebody brings it up, a company will be like, oh, okay, and do like a really quick fix and then forget about it again. So that's where I feel like we're at, which with like Twitch and the hate raids and stuff that were happening, it's like, okay, we're gonna like put together this little package that looks nice and it's a nice little solution and we're doing this and this, and then like not actually changing anything about like the algorithm and all of that. And so yeah, I'm gonna say no.
And for those watching who don't know, so the Twitch hate raids were basically a big thing that happened like this past summer, was it 2021? I forget what year it is. Okay, yeah. But where basically just like bots, random spam trolls, like just spam racial slurs or other derogatory, hateful messages into like streams, and it was especially impacting creators of color and creators from other marginalized groups. So yeah, just wanted to give that as context for everybody. What else do you guys think about company diversity efforts?
As far as do I feel like it's genuine since the Black Lives Matter movement, I don't think it's genuine. I feel like it's genuine with companies when it's already ingrained into the company culture, not when it happens because something else happened. So I don't find it genuine either.
That part.
Yeah.
If you was genuine, you would have already been like talking
from the
about that from
start.
day one, you know?
Yeah, you would have a more diverse team. You know, this would have been something that's important from day one, not like, oh, this happened, so let's look good to the public now. It would have been like, this is something important to us. This is what our values stand upon, you know. And when it's not originally, it's like, okay, sure, you can learn from what's happening outwardly and you can improve, but it's more like a checkbox more than it is genuine to me.
I agree. I mean, it's like when you talk about, are the diversity efforts genuine? My first thought is, of course not, because if you really cared, you would get to know your consumer base, not just say, hey, Black Lives Matter. It's like, duh, we know that. Now what? So I just never felt like, specifically in gaming, I don't know, I don't really feel specifically catered to in a lot of platforms, games, titles, companies. And that's when I would kind of take it as like, okay, you guys are trying. If you're trying to get to know your consumers, speaking to them, seeing what they want and what they need. But I don't feel like that's being done specifically for Black consumers, creators, and gamers.
I feel like what happens is like when Black Lives Matter is trending, or when, you know, something traumatic happens, it's always like, always has to be something trauma related for companies to be like, Black folk. But what I notice a lot of companies do is like start the diversity without the inclusion. Like they're like, let me just throw some black people in our game. Let's give them, you know, some blackface. It seems very much like they think about the surface level things they could be doing to represent black people, but or, you know, just diverse characters in their games and in their platforms and their communities. Like, let's just highlight, you know, some black creators, put them on the homepage. But I think what's even more impactful, which that's all good things. So I don't want to say like don't include, you know, diversity in your game, but what's equally as important is, like Koya said, like the culture change, the like your inclusivity should be something that you have thought of from day one, you know. Like that should be something that's just a part of your company culture. And so for a lot of companies just to like throw up, oh, Black Lives Matter, and then do like the surface level thing but not really going any deeper, that's when it's not really genuine to me. I just want to take a brief break in the conversation to also acknowledge that it's not like no companies have made any diversity efforts or haven't made, you know, changes within their companies or in their games. I know that earlier this year, Twitch hired somebody named Kendra DeRozier. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, and I apologize. But she is the global head of strategic programs and culture at Twitch. So she's working for advocating that the experiences of underrepresented groups on Twitch get to be highlighted and heard and understood. So that's definitely a huge step and a huge thing that we should celebrate. I know another example is that The Sims recently released do-rags and bonnets in a free base game update. It just adds that little extra taste of, you know, authenticity and being black. This conversation was filmed a little while ago, and there are, you know, a few other examples out there, but I do want to just add that note in. There definitely has been progress that some companies have made, which I feel like should be acknowledged as well. But that also kind of leads me to think why it's important, especially for us as black creators, to support ourselves, to support our own. I always think like I never want to like wait around until the powers that be decide that our lives actually matter. Like we have the ability as creators and as consumers to support our own. And I think it's important as consumers that we actually express that power. Where you invest your time will signal to whatever powers, whatever algorithms that we want to see more of this. So I know, Kennedy, you're a part of a organization, or I don't know how you would describe it, called the Noir Network, which was created by X Mira Mira. According to their page is about like highlighting black femmes in content creation. So can you tell us a little bit about what the Noir Network is and what you guys do?
Yeah, so it's a Twitch team, which if someone's not familiar on Twitch, basically you can form teams and then different streamers join the team. And so you can follow like the team's page if you're interested in like multiple creators in that team. And you can see when you go on the page, like who's streaming. And if you go on like your individual pages, you can see all of those people in the team, like in each person's page. So it's kind of like mutually supporting and promoting each other. But Noir has kind of taken it past just being a typical Twitch team, and has made it like this collective of mentorship and support, and it's a great community, and it's great to feel supported and seen and have somewhere to go where you can voice your concerns and know that it's not just happening to you, and that there's all of these people who understand where you're coming from and the specific struggles you're going through, or the specific obstacles you have to overcome, or not even that, like the specific joys you're feeling, and, you know, like all of those varied experiences you have as being a black femme content creator. And yeah, it is one of those like communities created out of need because there isn't that support elsewhere. And yeah, I think it's a really like admirable thing. So I'm very happy to be a part of it.
I think those networks are definitely very important. I know there's also like the Black Girl Gamers. They also have a Twitch team. They have a Twitter page. I know they kind of do some similar things like with mentoring and like just getting like black women just like shown. Like hey, we here too. And I'll probably like link some like sources in the description for folks to check out, because yeah, that's definitely important to like see ourselves in a space that we belong as well.
Something else that came to mind is like why it's so important to support each other. In every industry that you work in, I mean, we all have real lives and we've all, you know, been involved in different spaces, but only we know what it feels like to be the only Black woman in the room sometimes, or to have people talk to you in a way that's demeaning or condescending. Only we know that we're expected to work so hard for equal or less of a result. Like there's just certain things that kind of go unsaid that Black women understand. And I feel like when you're in professional spaces, companies really try to pit Black women against each other a lot of the time. There's a lot of tokenism that happens everywhere. So it's nice to kind of like, I believe me and Asmara and one of our other friends were talking one day, and we were talking about something I forgot, but we were talking about like competition in the sense that if you don't compete, there is no competition. So like if you're thrown into a ring, they're like, okay, fight. If no one fights, it's like there is no like, you know. So I think that's really important too, because it can get very lonely and very stressing sometimes, as a Black woman in any space, whether that be gaming or work. So to have people come together and support each other in that way, even on like a very minuscule level, I think that's very special.
Yeah. And I also feel like because that's almost the expectation, when you're just starting out creating content, it feels so daunting and it feels so like, oh my God, there's already a Black creator in this space. I can't do it. I can't. There's already one. And I remember seeing
one
this
Black.
quote. The one Black. That's it. Gotta go. Back it up. But I remember seeing this quote that was like, I don't know the exact quote, but it's like, because you're seeing that one person succeed, it doesn't mean they're your competition. It means that you can do the same thing. And that always stuck with me, because it's like, I've seen all these Black women be successful in this space, and like my initial reaction is like, oh my God, I can't compete, you know, like they're there. But then I'm like, no, that just means that like there is a space for me. There's people that want to see me do my thing, and there's like, we're not the same person. We're not all a monolith, and like we all have something different and unique to bring. And I think that's something that other people don't even have to like think about. Like I'm my own person, and so everybody, you know, like it's a unique like struggle that we have to kind of overcome mentally. So yeah, it's nice to have this have community to be able to like be that check on each other and be like, no, it's okay. We're all growing together. It's okay. We can all be here in this space.
And also on that note, like just because one other person is doing something similar to what you want to do, like at the end of the day, like they can't be you. Like they're not going to have your unique personality, your unique interests, your unique style. There's something that only you as a creator can bring to the table that nobody else can bring. And so I think that's important to remind ourselves of as well as creators, because it's definitely feel like easy to do that sort of comparison when there's not a lot of us out here, you know?
Yeah. I would say that that's something that has been so helpful to me recently. It's just knowing like, no matter how similar we may be, like people have similar interests all the time. We live in similar worlds. We have similar experiences, but no one is you, like you said. And that's so special. We all have something to offer. And as a Black woman, a lot of the time, the world tries to tell us like, no, you don't. Like we were talking about earlier, we have our one, but that's just not true, because there aren't a lot of people who have to think about that. So I really like that we mentioned that.
It's like, go ahead. Sorry, I've been talking.
I was also going to add the beauty in like similarities amongst people or creators and things like that is like you were saying earlier, we all have our own twist to it because we're all ourselves. And as a consumer, if I do like a particular style, a cozy style, and I find one and then I find another one, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can just get lost in all of these people who do this similar thing. They're all different. They may all like put something out at a different time. So I think it's really beneficial as a consumer too, because then you have variety for a change. You don't just have to stick to just one, I think that's pretty cool too.
Like, it's important to know that there doesn't have to be just one token black, you know? I think most of us could probably relate to the experience of like being in a room with like one other black person. They always confuse you for each other, even if you look nothing alike. Like people will kind of put this expectation, either like overtly or covertly. Is that the right word? I don't know. English just left me today.
Me too.
that we're similar. We're all a monolith. And so it's important that we don't also, as black women especially, like subscribe to that narrative. Like, we all have something unique to bring to the table.
Even when you're like amongst black women, you can kind of let that guard down a lot, because I joke with my husband all the time, and I'm like, the black girl in me is saying something completely different sometimes. Like, the black woman in me is like turning my head like, what are you doing? But sometimes you just have to be patient and hold your peace and hold your tongue in a lot of situations. So it's nice to kind of be able to relax amongst people who just get it sometimes.
So what has been your guys' experience, what I like to call creating while black? We have driving while black, existing while black. Let's talk about creating while black. I know for me, something unique experience that I feel like we just understand is especially this idea of black creators having to like dig or search for them a lot of the times. And which is why I'm grateful for communities like Noir, like the Black Girl Gamers, like communities like that make it a point to be like, here's a bunch of amazing people in one place. Like, there definitely is truth to the fact that like there is a difference of the type of content you're gonna see if you just go to like the most popular. So I know that's definitely something that's, I guess, bothered me as a consumer growing up, and also as a creator, is like feeling like you have to dig to find those people. So what has been some experiences you guys have had, or some things that you have noticed, whether as a creator or consumer, that is like kind of like unique to being a black woman sort of online?
I know, like on YouTube, for example, if I'm looking for black creators, I oftentimes have to like go and switch to like, I don't know, the most recently uploaded, and try to look at videos that have no views, and just keep scrolling until I find black creators. Or just differing creators in general, because algorithms are tailored in favor of a certain type of audience and a certain type of creator. So that's always been frustrating as a consumer, not outside of being a content creator, because like simquoya was saying earlier, I like a certain genre of things. I like a certain type of gaming. So when I'm looking for people, like, I was so happy when I found Cozy K. Actually, I found you like probably about 2 or 3 months ago, and I was just like, whoa, like I was so excited, but that's another conversation. But when I find people like Cozy K, or like, other gamers, or even when I'm looking in lifestyle YouTube, or just anything that I'm searching for a specific creator, it makes me very excited. Every time I find a new black creator, I tell my husband like, oh my goodness, look, I found someone. And I don't think that I have that much trouble finding new creators of other groups that I enjoy. Like, they're just always there, an ever-present being. But yeah.
I think also the black creators that are mainstream, which I am ecstatic for and like fully support, and I'm so happy that there are mainstream black creators. And they also tend to be kind of like the picture of blackness that other races tend to like and think is funny, and you know what I mean. So it is a bit harder, I think, to move past that, which like I love to see that too, but yeah, to see like a variety of personalities, is you do have to kind of dig deep, because people don't really necessarily want to see a black woman just chilling out and being calm, just and living life, whatever. Yeah. So that's another aspect.
I think that's equally as important. Is to show diversity within Blackness, because there's more than one way to be Black.
And all are valid and great.
I think the relatability piece is really interesting. I like to create and tell Black stories because it's what I am most familiar with. And so, like for example, on Tumblr and on Similar, I read a lot of Black stories by Black authors in the Sims community, and like seeing them talk about Greek life, which is something I'm a part of, and I'm like, oh, look at how they integrated Greek life in the Sims. That's so cool. Or just seeing how their Sims celebrate holidays, or seeing someone found an animation for the electric slide, and there's the
I need to
electric
see
slide.
that.
Yeah, Cinnamon on Tumblr. I was like, look at her Sims down, and it's like, one of the cool things about being in the Sims community is that it's worldwide. I've never been a part of an online community where, I'm talking to other people online, like who are in like France or, somewhere like in South America. And so I'll think about like when they see these things, like, do they understand what this is? Like, as far as like those little pieces of culture that people, like Black people, put into their game. And I know they enjoy it, but I just kind of wonder, like, I wonder if they understand, like, what does this mean to them? Because I know it means something different than what it does to me. Like, I live this, and I get to see someone put it in a game, and I think that's really cool to see that represented, and just how we can, like, like Sims is like what, imitating life. So yeah, I just like the relatability piece of it.
Yeah, and when I found your channel, Koya, that's something that made me very excited because our backgrounds are very similar. So like, I don't know, experiences really do shape what you enjoy, how you see the world really. And that's just really cool. It's relatable, it's entertaining. So I don't know. And everyone's different, no matter who you are. All Black people are different. We all had different lives, but there are some things that some commonalities that we all share.
I know for me, I've also noticed, because when I first started creating content, I wanted to do like sort of commentary video essay style videos in addition to gaming, just because I've always I don't know, I like to research things. Like, I just do that for fun. Super, super fun. But a lot of my early videos I did, because I started my channel around Black Lives Matter 2020. Some of my first videos I did were about like race, how it intersects with gaming, like finding my place in the gaming space. And so I think some people have come to assume that because I've made some content about that's all I want to talk about. I don't know if you guys experience people kind of like assuming you're like a race whisperer because you're Black, which is definitely fine if that's something you want to talk about on your channel. I know I talk about it, so like I get why people ask me. But I also just wish there was sort of equal appreciation for Black people just living their lives. Like, why does every time you guys have to find us or support us have to be after somebody gets murdered, or like after something like terrible happens within like the world or within our community? Like, why can't y'all just support us because like just to support us, like just because we're human, we're creators, we're people? I think it's just equally as important to show Black joy as it is to share our trauma in our stories. And I would say joy is one of the greatest acts of resistance, is when people can just see us living, existing, and see it as just as normal.
It's interesting that you say that that's kind of expected of you now, because I think when I started making content, I like made two conscious decisions to both not talk about law school and like my career as a lawyer, and also race. And not that I don't love talking about race, because like in my personal life, like I'm the person who's gonna bring it up every time. I'm gonna bring it up. Okay, we're gonna have a conversation about race. I don't care who's in the room. But
hey, you're here today, so your time to shine.
Which also, like, I didn't always feel that way growing up. That was something that like came about after going to a HBCU. I was like, I'm not apologetic anymore. I will talk. You come on, let's talk about it. But I think I anticipated that expectation that you feel, Asmara, and so I was like, I'm not talking about law school, I'm not talking about race, because I'd never want people to come to my content expecting anything else but just gaming and coziness. And I don't want my platform to be kind of reliant on having to talk about those things.
I think that's also totally like valid as well, like because not all people want to talk about like race or want to talk about like those types of topics on their channel, and I don't think that should be an expectation just because you're black or just because you're a part of a certain community. Like when we look at like white creators or other creators, they don't got no expectations, like like so we shouldn't place those sort of expectations on us either, you know. If you want to talk about it, if you don't I want to move into this idea of sort of, as black women, feeling rewarded for the work we put into our content. We've already kind of talked about how platforms and algorithms don't always push out our content. We have to like intentionally go out of your way to find just diverse creators or anyone who doesn't necessarily meet that sort of status quo of what you might think of when you think of a gamer. So I want to know, since we have 4 different people here who all are at different places in their content creation journey, do you feel rewarded for the work you put in your videos, in your live streams, on Tumblr, on Twitter? And what has that experience been like for you?
Yes, I feel rewarded. I think that feedback is always great when you put out content and someone can let you know what they think about that content and how it makes them feel or anything. So I mostly create content on Tumblr and YouTube, and the communities that I'm a part of in both of those spaces, and just kind of hearing what people have to say, or if people find my channel and like leave a comment like, oh my goodness, this is one of my favorite Let's Plays, or oh, I'm happy to see another video. I'm like, wow, like it literally like lights me up, because once again, I can stop calling my aunt like, hey girl, another sim update.
Y'all won't believe what happened. Listen.
So to meet all these people online who don't know me personally, but resonate with my stories and are looking forward to it, like that's really fulfilling. On Tumblr too, like some of my favorite similar accounts have been following me lately and will comment on like my story post and say they're proud of me, and I'm like, you proud of me? Like that is amazing. Wow, thank you. So I think getting that feedback piece does feel very rewarding. At the end of the day, I try to stay intentional of how I create content, because The Sims is my favorite game. So I never want to feel like I'm creating for anyone else's expectations. I always want to create something that I enjoy first and that I want to put out because I love it, and I want to put it out because I want to keep a record of it, because I love my game. I want to look back on the things that I did in my game. And so knowing that I'm putting something out there that makes me happy, can also make someone else happy, is super rewarding, because it is something that's just from my heart, as cheesy as that sounds, connecting it to a game, but it is. So knowing that I'm like not selling my soul for anything on the internet and people can resonate with that, definitely feels rewarding to me.
I love that.
I would say that I learned how to reward myself, so I feel rewarded. I really enjoy playing games, but at this point in my life, I couldn't justify spending so much time playing games for no reason. So that was another reason that I started my channel. I was like, okay, if I'm going to be simming this long, because when I started Sims during college again, I was playing for so long, and I was like, okay, if I'm going to sit here and playing this game, then I need to do it for a purpose. And learning about the people that are watching, and a lot of gamers who watch content is very impactful for them, and they consume a lot of it. So knowing that made it a little bit more purposeful for me. And although I know that if you look around you, other creators that may not be Black, they may grow faster, they may have more positive feedback, but I just don't pay attention to that, especially anymore, because I just know that we're not held by the same standard, and that I don't have to even abide by their standard. I can make up my own standard for myself, my own standard for success. And doing that makes me feel a lot more relaxed about making content now. Like it's not something that stresses me out anymore. because I'm just like Koya said, I don't record a video if I'm not feeling it, because if I don't want to play, I'm not going to play. At the end of the day, my husband always tells me, like, this is a game. Like, if you want to make a movie, go make a movie, but this is a game. So I just remember that. I just sit back, relax, and have fun. And hopefully someone else has fun too.
I definitely have felt rewarded. And I would say in ways that I didn't expect. Like, I feel like if someone were to say, oh, you're going to be a content creator and it's going to be rewarding, I would have been like, oh, maybe it's rewarding because, like, I got a lot of followers and a lot of brand deals or something. But, like, that's the least rewarding part of it. And the most rewarding is feeling like you have an impact on people and people coming to you and telling you the exact impact and, like, writing long messages about the specific impact, and like not even long. Sometimes it's just like a short little, like, I watch this every Sunday and I love it and it's a part of my routine and I'm like, huh. And so yeah, just that, and like the community that I've gotten from it also is way more rewarding than I ever thought it would be.
I like this idea of like being able to find what is rewarding for yourself and for your channel, like on your own terms. I think a lot of the times in like a space like content creation, it's very much like numbers driven. Like it's almost like you see, unless you decide to disable it, like how many viewers you have or how many followers or subscribers you have, like how much watch time. It's refreshing to hear that like you still have the ability to define what is rewarding to you in your content. I know that I love, receiving comments about like, oh, like you made this video essay or you talked about this topic that like helped me feel seen or helped me like understand myself better or my place, I guess, as a gamer, because growing up, I never really considered myself like a gamer in the typical sense. So for me to sort of sharing my story and just sharing just my current experience, I think I love hearing people's comments and feedback about that. I know earlier this year, it was last year, about a year ago, I made my documentary about The Sims 4, which kind of blew up out of nowhere and allowed a lot of people to find my channel.
That's how I found you.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. So I went from like, like 2 comments on a video to like randomly there's like thousands of people here. But I remember around that time, creators used to always say like, oh, all you have to do is like work hard on your videos and you can grow as a creator. And so I thought like that was an example of that. And then after that kind of rise happened, the growth kind of stopped. And I was kind of shocked. I was like, wait, I thought all you had to do was work hard. And I don't know about y'all, but listen, a lot of those, especially those white male creators, they love to talk about how they work hard. As if the rest of us don't. Something I guess I've started realizing is that with content creation, like working hard is not all that goes into maybe like the numerical success, quote unquote, that comes with content creation. There's a lot of, to say that YouTube or creation is a meritocracy is implying that power, like people with privilege and power don't exist and doesn't affect the space. But yeah, just going back to, I kind of went on a long tangent, but going back to what I said earlier, I've definitely found a lot of value in just returning back to who I was creating content for initially. That one video doing well was amazing. Don't get me wrong. Like the reason, like that documentary is the reason I have my gaming PC today. But that's not, the numerical success is not like the end all be all. Because you never know when that might end. So it's important to just like know your why and know why you're creating and who you're creating it for, and define success on your own terms,
And also, like, I don't know what you said that made me remember this, but there's almost like an expectation that, yeah, Black women, you enjoy doing this, so that's it. Just enjoy it. You should have like this huge purpose in your heart, which we do. But this is still work. It's a lot of work that goes into it, and we should be
Yes.
compensated.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like taboo, especially for Black women. They're like, what do you mean compensated? Luxury?
You want to be paid?
You want to be paid?
You want to pay your bills? You want to eat? No.
So that's something that I feel like I've become a lot more confident with as well. Like, I don't really care what value other people say that I bring. I know what value I bring, and I'm not going to lower myself just because they're like, whatever. This is a really fun thing that we're doing, but I don't want anyone watching to think, okay, we love playing this game. We love interacting with everyone. So therefore, it's not right to think that we should be compensated in some way.
That's a really good
Pay
point.
Black women. Which is also another thing I'd like that Noir does, is like kind of connecting you guys. Well, you're in it, Kennedy, but like kind of being able to have a community of other Black women so you guys can talk about like sponsorships and like other more like business parts of the industry. Could you like break that down a little bit, or like what is that? What does that look like?
Yeah, so there's kind of different aspects to it. So the main one is them kind of trying to field opportunities for us. So they go out and, as Noir, will like talk to people, or people will come to them, brands or like whatever games, and then they'll come to us and say, hey, if you want this opportunity, let me know, we'll give it to you. And then there's also kind of a like, I've had this experience with this brand and this is how it went, and it wasn't great, or it was good, or whatever, and like now you have this information. And then there's the other aspect of it of like industry experience, and having learned like this is what this is worth for having this amount of engagement or followers or whatever. And so if somebody's asking you for this much, tell them to go away and bring back another offer.
Please come
and
correct.
So come correct, please. And yeah, so it's the like again, like mentorship and support based on knowledge and experience in like content creation, which is really nice. Like I would say most of the time, like 6 months I was just in it blind, like I don't know, I'll take whatever, I guess. Like I just had no idea. So it's nice having that
support. Yeah. So we're going to sort of conclude our conversation here, but I want to ask you guys, what advice would you give to maybe an aspiring content creator who wants to make content in like a similar genre as you? What advice would you give people out there, and especially like Black women?
I would say consistency and perseverance and kind of what Taylor said, remembering the why. And I am like the most inconsistent like person ever, and so I always start projects and hobbies and never finish them, but always done that my whole life. And for some reason, I think just also because it's a passion and like the why was there for me, I stayed consistent, and I made myself stay consistent, and the passion also kind of like fueled the consistency. So I think kind of leverage that passion, be consistent, don't be discouraged when things aren't like this, because it's never
Yes.
going to be like that. Sometimes so it might be like this, and then it might go down, and it might just be like yep, exactly. And that's okay. That's okay, because it can be like a slow build, and maybe, one thing will take it up or not, and you're just enjoying the journey.
And I would also say, just like, making small goals for yourself has really helped me. Small goals that are realistic enough that you can accomplish them. And it makes me excited. I have established a plan for myself that no one may know or no one may understand, but it's working out. And that makes me really excited. That keeps me very encouraged. Even when no one is watching my videos or engaging with me, I know like, okay, we're still on course. So have fun, do the best you can, be consistent. And like Kennedy said, it's not going to be stagnant. It's going to be up and down, but as long as you're enjoying it, it should be fine. This is a game, even though this is a profession for a lot of people. I've kept it in this hobby box or placed it in the hobby box because it should be fun. Like, why would I play a game and not have fun? So yeah.
I love both of those answers and I absolutely agree. The best advice I have always received in different aspects of my life is to be yourself. And like, I remember I was interviewing for something huge and I asked like, oh my gosh, what advice do you have? And the woman said, be yourself. And I said, okay, what else? And she was like, that's it. Just be yourself. And I felt like I was going into this thing blind, but I achieved what I wanted out of that interview from being myself. And I've carried that with me through everything. So I would definitely say to be yourself, embrace your quirks, love who you are and just be that. Don't try to be someone else. And don't give up either. Like Kennedy said, I've been creating content, starting projects, abandoning projects, over and over and over throughout the years. And, when I started creating my Sims content, I said, okay, if I would have just kept going from the beginning, look at where I could be now. So that consistency piece is huge. Just keep going. Like those small goals, like maybe your small goal is just to show up in some way every week. And if you can do that, then back to the rewarding system, then you can feel rewarded like, wow, I've showed up for 7 weeks in a row. Let me see if I can do it for 7 more. And you'll feel really good about what you're doing because you're setting those small goals and achieving something. And I think achieving something can feel really good for your mindset when you're on a journey like this. But, when you're able to commit to something small for yourself and see the rewards in that for you, it's motivation to keep going. So be yourself and don't give up.
I like what you said about like how accomplishing a goal feels really rewarding in counseling. We were talking about confidence because inconsistency, confidence has always been something that I've struggled with. Like I've always tried to belittle myself or make myself small one way or another. If I'm not doing 100% at something, I'm like, okay, on to the next thing. But in counseling, we talked about how accomplishing goals builds our confidence. Like it lets you know, you test that water. You're like, okay, I can do this. Let me try something bigger. Okay, that wasn't that bad. Let me try something else. Let me keep going. And I don't know, that's really special. And it kind of seeps over to the rest of our lives too. Through creating content, I learned how to be more confident, not only online, which is a very different world, but I learned how to show up in my everyday life and say no and set boundaries and be more disciplined. So yeah.
Very true. Also, Koya, you reminded me of 2 different things. The first is like in the beginning of creating content, I had like looping in my brain all the time because I would just be like crying at my computer, like nothing's working. I don't have all this stuff I need. Like I can't put out content that I'm proud of, but I still just put it out and I still just did it. And the saying was like, your future self will thank you. And like, your future self will thank you. I said that constantly. And it's just a great way to like reassess and be like, this is all for something. Like this effort, all of this pain and time and effort is for something, and your future self will thank you. And then the other thing you reminded me of is being yourself is so important, because if you're cultivating a community and you're cultivating the people who are watching you, and if 10 years down the road you have this huge community and you're not like proud of the people that are watching you and you're not like connected to the community, I feel like that would feel so not fulfilling and a little bit empty and sad. And it's really nice to look at your community and be like, wow, y'all are here because you are a piece of me, like we are each other, and this is great, and we're here because we're seeing something in each other. And yeah, so I definitely agree, Koya, that it's really important to be yourself.
I love that so much. And you also reminded me of something right just now. One of my absolute favorite quotes is "The journey awakens the soul." And so everybody has to start from zero, like unless you're already like some heir with 1,000,002 followers or something like that. We all have to start somewhere. And so those small and humble beginnings are a really great thing. And one of the things I like to do when I find a new creator, as weird as it may be, I like to reverse the video order or their content order and go like back to the beginning and see how they started, because I love to see people's growth. I love to see how they started and what they might have modified and changed. And I'm like, this is so cool. It's also encouraging to me just to see like, wow, or those popular tweets that would be like, oh, how it started versus how it's going. That's cool. That's your story. And I think that's nothing to be ashamed of. The journey awakens the soul. So you learn so much in that journey when you're starting from just, one little piece of equipment or one pack or whatever until growing into that. I think, that's a really cool thing to not be afraid of. It's the journey.
Y'all have all really good advice. Like, I feel like that just covered everything. I feel like that was the perfect way to end this out. But thank you guys so much for being on my channel. I really enjoyed speaking with y'all about kind of content creation and our unique experiences being Black women in this space. The final thing. Everybody, let the folks know at home watching, where can they find you on the internet?
My name is Simmy T on YouTube. It's simmy.t on Instagram, and it's simmy YYT on Twitter.
A variation of Simmy T everywhere. All right.
You can find me at simquoya on Twitter, on Tumblr, and on YouTube.
You can find me at cozy.games on Instagram and TikTok, and cozyk on YouTube, and cozy__games on Twitch.
And everybody's links will be in the description, since I know that was a lot of stuff. Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys again, and have a wonderful rest of your day. So that was the conversation we had. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I definitely enjoyed speaking to these three lovely ladies today. Be sure to drop a comment below about what your favorite part of the video was. What was your favorite part of our conversation? What did you learn today? What did you resonate with? I would love to know. Be kind in the comment section to everybody featured in this panel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys later. Bye everyone.